Today we're doing lesson 7.10, angle measurement and perpendicular lines. It says angles here, there, everywhere. Use a protractor to find the value of each angle measurement in degrees. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do it first, then I'm going to let you try it. Cameron, you focused? Okay. So I've got my protractor here. Jackson, I said I'm going to show you, then I'm going to let you try it. Okay. So I've got my protractor right here. On the bottom of this protractor, there is a red dot where the that you put in the vertex of the angle where the two rays or segments meet. That's this right here. Okay, they both start right there, right? Because they have arrows going out. So you can see, Todd, that this, it starts right here and goes up, and this one starts right here and goes out, right? So they both start right there in the corner. So I take my protractor and I put it in the corner and line up the bottom part of the protractor with the bottom of this angle. Now, when I do that, this is pointing between a set of numbers, two sets of numbers actually. It's pointing between 140 and 150, and then underneath that it's pointing at 50, wait, nope. Let me double check. I want to make sure I'm getting this right. It's pointing between 140 and 150 and 30 and 40. Which numbers would you use for this angle, Todd? Evan, which set of numbers are we going to use?
The tiny ones.
The smaller ones, right? Because what kind of angle is this?
Acute.
Acute. When it's an acute angle, you use the smaller numbers because they're smaller, right? Okay, so I want you guys to measure this angle with your protractor and see what you get. So you line it up just like that. Do you see how it's just barely past that 30? So what would you say this angle is, Cameron? It's not halfway between. Athena?
33 degrees.
33 or 30, 32 or 33, either one. You're gonna put that right there in the corner of the angle, okay? On the next one, it looks like a right angle, kind of, doesn't it?
Yes, but it's not.
But it doesn't have a box in the corner. So this is what I'm gonna do to check. I'm gonna line this paper up with the bottom. Do you see how it shoots out that way?
Yeah.
So what kind of angle would this be then, Colton?
An obtuse angle.
Obtuse. It's bigger than a piece of paper. It's bigger than 90 degrees. So that means that we're going to use which number on the protractor, the bigger or the smaller?
Bigger.
Bigger, right? Okay, so I'm going to line this up with the point that I mentioned earlier on my protractor, the middle of the straight side. The middle of the straight side. So you've got a red point there. I put it right here. I don't just line it up anywhere. I've got to put it right up against that bottom ray. And this points just a little bit past the mark after 90. What's the mark after 90? Harvard? Okay, mine is not. What's this mark after 90.
95.
95. Mine's a little bit different. Mine doesn't have single angle or 1 degrees. It counts by fives. So it's just a little bit past the 95. So what would it be then? 96 degrees. Okay. Just looking at the next angle. What kind of angle do you think that is, Haziel? Acute. It's a little angle, right? Does this angle look bigger or smaller than 32? Shout it out.
Smaller.
Smaller. So when we measure it, if we get a number that's bigger than 32, then we know we did something wrong. So we're going to take our protractor, put it on the vertex point, line it up with the bottom of the ray. This is pointing on mine halfway between 10 and 20. What number is halfway between 10 and 20, Jackson? 15. So this is a 15-degree angle. And then on the last one, what kind of angle is that? Evan?
Obtuse.
Obtuse. It's big and wide. So I'm going to line up my protractor, and this is pointing between 130 and 140, but it's less than 135. So you guys measure that angle on yours and see what you get. Pick up your protractor, measure angle D. Okay, you can't put it outside the angle, you gotta put it inside the angle. Okay, so that you can measure. So, here. It's kind of hard because your book is bent there. It's a little bit past that. So maybe 131, is that what you guys are getting?
Yeah.
Okay. 131 degrees. Now, when you're measuring an angle, guys, if you go and put your protractor like this, are you going to be able to measure it? No, because this other ray is pointing away from your protractor. You have to put it inside the angle. In order to measure the angle, it's got to be inside of the angle. You with me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you might have to turn your book different ways to measure. All right, let's see. It wants us to use a protractor to measure the labeled angles in each figure. So we have a trapezoid here. Do you see how they've got letters in the corners of some of them? That's to help us identify the angle. So we're going to start by measuring angle S. And I am going to kind of go over this angle so you guys can see. What kind of angle would you say that would be, Macy? Acute, right, or obtuse? Obtuse. It's a wide angle, right? So that means on our protractor we're going to use which set of numbers? The bigger ones. All right. So I'm going to put my protractor where it's inside the angle and line it up with the corner, and this appears to be pointing about 130. It's about 130. All right. 130 degrees. Now what kind of angle is T?
Obtuse.
Acute. Jackson?
Acute.
Acute. That's a little tiny angle that's barely open.
Said acute, but I said
No, you said obtuse. Okay. So I'll go back and check the video.
yeah, she should.
Here we go. So this one is pointing between 40 and 50. What number's between 40 and 50?
45.
45. 45 degrees. Are you labeling these? Okay. Next we're going to do angle Q. We start by looking at what kind of angle is that? What kind of angle is it? Shout it out.
Right. Cute.
Acute. All right. Okay, so we put this in the corner, and then I measure this other ray, and it looks like it's coming out between 70 and 80. What's between 70 and 80? Everybody.
75.
75. Okay. Last is R. What kind of angle is R? Obtuse. I know some of these are kind of hard to tell. So, if I put this in the corner, lined up with the bottom, see how it sticks out wider? It's obtuse. And this one, see how it goes inside the paper where you can't see it, it disappears? It's acute. All right, so an obtuse angle, big numbers. All right, here we go. So I line that up there, and it looks like it's pointing at 110. Okay. Next, we have this fancy shape, and there's one like this on your test, and it's made up with a bunch of what?
Angles.
And what do they use to create the angles?
Lines.
Lines, because they all have arrows on the ends, right? Which means they're lines. So they drew a bunch of lines that made angles. Our project, that's coming up for the grand showcase. We're going to use a bunch of line segments to create different size angles and measure them and put it in the hall and color them in, make it look really cool. So, they want us to measure angle E. What kind of angle is angle E? Acute. It's a little tiny acute angle. And then we got to measure angle F. What kind of angle is angle F?
Acute.
Acute. That's a little angle. Just okay. So here we go. Angle E. And I'll line it up with the vertex point and the line, and it is pointing at what? You guys measure it and see. What do you think E is? Get your protractor and measure angle E. Make sure this is in the very corner. There you go. What's it pointing to? These two numbers. No, it's one of those numbers. This is what you're looking at right here. What number is it? What does that equal? We don't say 1 times 0. 150. What's that? 30. So which do you think goes with that angle? What you guys get?
33.
Nope, it's 30. Who got 33?
I did.
Alright. Let me come look.
I
Tell me.
erased it.
No, I want to see how you got 33. Make sure you're doing it right. Okay, so stop. Here's the problem. With your hands. With your hands. You have to line it up perfectly. See, you were like this a little bit. So
Yeah.
So you look at where it points. Okay, so it's about 30. All right. Next, we are going to measure angle F, which we know is an acute angle. And I'm going to turn my protractor upside down so it can be inside the angle. And this is pointing between 70 and 80. So what would that be?
75.
75. So F is 75. Okay. Cameron, turn your voice off, please. All right. On the next one, I'm going to show you what they do real quick. She takes a piece of paper and it says, Tyler gave Lynn a challenge. Without using a protractor, draw 4 90-degree angles. All angles have their vertex point at P. So Lynn folded the paper twice, making sure each fold goes through P. So this is what I'm going to do. I've got a piece of paper here, and I'm going to make a point right here. That says P. Okay, that's my point. And I'm going to make 4 right angles by making sure all of the angles start at P. So I'm going to first fold my paper in a way that the line is folded on through that point. So the paper right here, I folded. Do you see how I folded on the line, Todd? Do you see that? Focus, please. So I folded the paper, and now I'm going to fold it again. And I'm going to make sure that it's folded where it's kind of creased on that point. Now, see that? See how it's got 4 angles? Can you see it? So let me go over it here. So this is the folds that I made. And are these right angles?
Yes.
Yes. And do they all go through the point P?
Yes.
Yes. So they form 4 right angles, and that's how you would do it. You would just make sure that the fold goes through your point. Okay. Those lines that form 4 right angles or form right angles, does anybody remember what those are called? Fisher.
Right.
No. No, what these lines or line segments that form right angles? Autry? No. No. Evan?
Right.
Colton?
Raise.
No. Perpendicular. Perpendicular. When it forms right angles, when 2 lines are intersecting in a way that forms right angles, they're called perpendicular. Okay, Colton, I thought you would get that. You were so good at that on the other day. You were like perpendicular, perpendicular. Okay, so it says right here, the lines we created are perpendicular. Which shapes have sides that are perpendicular to one another? If they're perpendicular, they form right angles. Do you see any right angles on A?
No.
Yes, thumbs up. No, thumbs down. Any right angles? Yes or no? Colton, where do you see a right angle on A? Show me on your paper. There are no right angles on A. What about B? Do you see any right angles? Yes? No. On shape B, do you see any right angles? Perfect L's. Yes, there are 4 of them. Each one of these corners is a right angle. Okay, what about C? Do you see any right angles on C? Yes or no? Yes, there is 1 right angle. It's right here in the corner. That is a right angle. That one's acute. That one's acute. But this one is right. So C. What about D? Do you see any right angles? Nope. No right angles on D.